I just made these logos for 2 different brands in under 10 minutes, and it didn't require any design software, hired help, or any prior experience in branding. And in this video, I'm going to show you my full logo design workflow you can use for any project. I've used this on my own channel, on client work, and on brand concepts I was just testing out, and every single time, the output is clean and ready to actually use. The tool we're using today is called OpenArt. It's an all-in-one AI platform, and when you first log in, you'll see the navigation bar with the options: story, video, image, character, world, and audio. Everything is in one place, which makes it a lot easier to build a full workflow without jumping between different apps. So we're building 2 logos today, one for my YouTube channel and one for an imaginary coffee brand called Corvex. And even though they require completely different styles, I'll use the same workflow for both so you can see how to adapt it to whatever you're making. If you want to follow along and have your own logo by the time we're done, I've left a link to OpenArt in the description below. So on OpenArt's homepage, go to the image section and click Create Image. That will take you to the image generation workflow. At the top, you'll see the model selector. Click on it and select GPT Image 2. That's the model that we'll be using because as of now, it's the best at creating readable text with high quality outputs. And if you've tried generating text before, you know how much AI models struggle with it. Once that's loaded in, set your aspect ratio to 16:9 and your quality to high. We're starting with my channel. I'll paste in my prompt and generate. What comes back is 4 completely different logo directions, all in one image, all staying within the yellow and black palette. And the reason I set it up this way is because with the grid, you save roughly 4 times less credits per generation instead of spending them each time you generate. And with logo design, it's important to have multiple ideas to select from. So this way you get 4 completely different directions in a single generation, and you get to compare them side by side instead of evaluating each one in isolation. GPT Image 2 is one of the only models that actually follows a layout instruction like this properly. Most models either ignore the grid structure entirely or blend everything together into one confused image. This one keeps each quadrant clean and separate, which is exactly what you need for this to work. Looking at what we got back, I think the best one is definitely the bottom left. It has this natural aesthetic to it that doesn't look like it's generated. It looks like someone actually painted it. And for a creative channel, that's exactly the kind of personality you want in a logo. Now we need to pull that specific logo out of the grid and get a clean, full-size version to work with. And there's a reason we don't just crop it. Stay inside the image generation workflow and keep GPT Image 2 selected. Look for the reference images field and choose the grid we just generated. Paste in your prompt and keep your settings the same. What comes back is the hand-painted logo with my channel name in full size centered on that bright yellow background. The brush stroke texture is intact, the lettering is still accurate, and it already looks like something you'd actually put on a channel. The reason we do it this way instead of just cropping the quadrant is that cropping a small section of an AI-generated image gives you something blurry and low resolution. By uploading the grid as a reference and asking GPT Image 2 to re-render the chosen logo at full size, we get a clean, high-resolution version of exactly the direction we picked. Now you might be wondering, what if I want to change something? In logo design, you always need to be able to add your own touches before you deliver your final product. In this one, for example, the underline beneath the text is a bit short. It cuts off before it feels intentional. And for a logo, that kind of detail matters more than people think. A longer underline anchors the text better and makes the whole mark feel more deliberate, so we're going to fix it. Head back to the OpenArt homepage and click Image, but this time select Edit Image. Upload the isolated logo we just generated. Once it's loaded in, you'll see a brush tool in the editing panel. Use it to paint over the existing underline. You're drawing a region and telling the AI the exact part you want it to change without altering anything else. For the model, select Nano Banana Pro. Then in the InPaint prompt field, write something simple like make the underline longer. No need to add extra details when you want something this specific. Let's generate. The underline extends. It now runs the full width of the text, and the whole logo feels more finished because of it. That one small edit completely changes how the mark reads. It went from looking like a rough draft to looking like an intentional design decision, and it took about 10 seconds to do. And this is actually one of the most underused parts of AI image workflows in general. Most people treat the first generation as the final result and either use it or scrap it. But being able to go back in and fix one specific thing without touching the rest of the image is what gives you real control over the output. That's my logo done, and the process we just used, grid generation, isolation, in-paint refinement, is the same process we're going to use for Corvex. But the brief is completely different, and that's where things get interesting. Instead of going bold and expressive like we did with my logo, Corvex needs to feel the opposite of that with a calm and minimalistic feel. So back in the image generation workflow, click Create Image. Make sure GPT Image 2 is still selected and keep your settings at 16:9 and high quality. No reference images this time. We're starting fresh. Here's the prompt I'm pasting in. What comes back is a completely different energy from the last grid, and that's exactly the point. Everything here is quiet and controlled. The brown on white palette gives it a minimalistic quality, and looking across the 4 quadrants, each one one has a distinct personality, even though they're all working within the same minimal brief. GPT Image 2 is creative enough to give you totally different options to choose from, all with just one prompt. The one that stands out to me immediately is the top left, because the lowercase word marks have a specific quality to them. They feel approachable without being casual. It's the kind of logo that works on things like a paper cup, on a website header, and generally things that a coffee brand could market. It scales well, it reads clearly, and it doesn't need anything else around it to make sense. The all caps version in the top right is strong too, but for a specialty coffee brand, I think the lowercase version has more warmth to it. And warmth is what makes people want to come back. What I also want to point out here is that getting a minimal result like this is actually harder than it looks. Most AI image generators are great at generating things that are visually loud with lots of detail and texture. Getting them to do less and do it well is a completely different challenge. Clean typography, tight spacing, and no unnecessary elements are generally things most models struggle with, but GPT Image 2 handles it in a way that most other models just don't. Now we need to isolate it, and then we're going to add the detail that makes this logo actually stand out. Stay in the image generation workflow, choose the Corvex grid as your reference image in the Reference Images field. Keep GPT Image 2 selected, paste in your prompt, and generate. Now we get the clean lowercase word mark, full size, centered on white. The letter forms are consistent, the weight is even, and it already looks like something a real brand would use. Now head back to the OpenArt homepage, go to the image selection and select Edit Image. Upload the isolated Corvex word mark. Grab the brush tool like we did before and paint over just the letter O. I want to replace it with a coffee bean, so I'll write this. The O now has that subtle coffee bean shape, and I actually got that idea from one of the other logos from the grid. This workflow allows you to speed up the process of creating something from scratch, while giving you the freedom to be as creative as you want with your outputs. I chose the logo I liked best, and added an element from a different result. And the reason I wanted to add this is because the best logo details are the ones that reward attention. You look at the logo, you read the name, and then a second later, you notice the things sitting inside it. For a coffee brand, having a coffee bean embedded in the word mark tells you the brand actually thought about what it was doing. And because we used inpainting to do it rather than trying to prompt it from scratch, it fits within the weight of the rest of the word mark. It doesn't stand out in a bad way and fits in naturally with the rest of the logo. And if you want to keep refining from here, you can repeat the inpaint step as many times as you need. Paint a different region, write a new prompt, and adjust whatever isn't sitting right. The logo never has to be locked until you decide it is. So using the same workflow, we created two totally different logos that are ready for professional use in under 10 minutes. And if you're building a channel, a product, a client brand, or even just testing an idea, this means you don't have to wait days or spend a budget just to see what the brand could look like. You can get a strong visual direction fast, refine it yourself, and actually have something usable by the end. And with OpenArt, you get access to everything you need to create high-quality logos and save credits doing it. So if you want to create your own logo, click the link in the description to sign up to OpenArt. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.